Hello and welcome. My name is Jake. I am a voice actor, audiobook narrator, etc. And I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk directly to authors who are interested in narrating their own books. Now, that's who I'm going to talk to. If you are maybe, well, I'm not an author, but I just want to do audiobook narration, you'll get a lot out of this if you're not sure where to start. So this is a beginner level of, what do you need to do to narrate your own books into audiobooks if you're an author. So, uh, first of all, why would someone want to do that? Well, one, it's cheaper. To do it yourself, you could save a lot of money. Um, the the con being there's a reason you're paying so much is because they're probably really, really good, maybe better than you, that sort of thing. But hopefully, it's worth every penny. You make it all back, etc. That's a that's a pro of doing it yourself is that um, save a lot of money. You wrote the characters, and I'm putting myself in the mind of a fiction writer here. Obviously, you can do it for any genre of book, but if you are, you know, doing your own audiobook, you wrote it, so you know the characters better than anybody. You know them better than Morgan Freeman or Benedict Cumberbatch. Like you wrote them, so there's the chance that you're going to do a really good job. Now, maybe you don't have any experience narrating. That's okay. You can. That's where practice comes in, and you can kind of get ready for your book as if you were going to train for a marathon. If somebody said, "Hey, do you want to run the St. Jude half marathon around Christmas time?" Um, you know, Today, if they texted you and you said yes, you would start training today. You wouldn't wait till the day of and try and go 13 miles. Same thing with an audiobook. If you're going to do it, start training for it, and I think you'll have great success and probably have a lot of fun doing it. Um, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This is and if you have a question, whether you're live or I'm going to send out the replay when I'm done. So even if it's on the replay, feel free to ask a question. I'll answer any questions that I have, but I also have some stuff that I'm going to go over, and in lieu of any questions, I'll just go on down the list. So the biggest reasons to do it is, man, you know, money wise, it's a good decision because you save a lot of money. You're not out anything but your time, assuming you have some of these pieces of equipment, which we'll talk about in just a second. And then you know the characters. So, and then plus, it's just, I recently did my own audiobook. Um, I wrote a book called How to Be a Voice Actor. Obviously, I wanted to do it myself. So I did. So I made this into an audiobook, and we'll talk about platforms and stuff that are good and that work well and they're user friendly for people like me that don't really know their way around um, technology. Okay, so if I can do it, I believe a caveman could do it, and I know you're smarter than me, so you can do it too. All right, so what do you need? Like, what do you need to do this? The first thing you need is obviously the will to do it, but you're going to need a computer. And if you're watching this right now, I'm assuming you're watching on a computer or a laptop. If you are on your phone, I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I would definitely recommend a laptop or a desktop for this kind of thing. You need a microphone. No matter how glorious your voice is, you need you need a microphone to capture its magnificence and send it on to the world, right? If you're talking to somebody on the phone, it doesn't matter how great their voice is, it's not going to sound as good over the phone as it will in real life. And that's kind of the way it is with a microphone. You need a good microphone, and you know, there's The PDF, I think I sent out a PDF to several of the people that I sent this link to. But there's some stuff about it in there, and then you can always, ask me. I'll send you recommendations and stuff. But just the Rode NT1A, it's fantastic. That's a great mic. Um, yeah, you couldn't go wrong with that one. I started with a Blue Yeti. I wouldn't recommend starting there because it's only a USB mic, and it's just not quite as good of like a quality. But do what you got to do. You could if you had to, but I would say do something that has an XLR cord, has a little interface, which is anywhere from $70 to $150 for a good one, and then your mic, which is going to be another, you know, 250 maybe for a really good one. So you're looking at a few $100 of investment, but it's really worth it if you want to do it, and especially if you have, let's say, a series and you're like, I want to do these. This is for you. All right, the third thing you're going to need after computer and microphone, you're going to need a DAW, a digital audio workspace. There are lots of good ones out there. Some you pay for, some are free. I'm a cheapskate. I like to get free stuff, and then when I get to the limits of its capability, then I pay for stuff. There's a download called Audacity, and you can just Google Audacity and get it on PC, get it on Apple, or even Linux, and that is just fantastic for audiobooks. Now, if you're doing the whole soundscaping on an audio drama or something like that, it's probably not exactly what you want. But if you're just recording audio, you're just narrating your book, Audacity is fantastic. And GarageBand, like any kind of free voice recorder, is probably going to be just fine, provided you have a good mic and you're in a sound treated space. Which brings me to our fourth and, I think, most important. I would rather have this one than a good microphone. All right. And the reason why I say this is if you are have a great mic, you get a $1,000 shotgun mic from Neumann or something like that, or Sennheiser, the Sennheiser, what is it, MKH 416, something like that. Um, you'll just sound terrible in high definition if you're in your kitchen and it's all echoey. You know what I mean? Great mic. It does not make you sound great if you don't have some sound treatment. Now, the good news is sound treatment does not have to be complicated. Like I'm in a standalone office with sound treatment, and that's great and that works for me. That is not what you have to do to get started. I mean, you could literally start in your closet, which is where I did, provided there's lots of hanging clothes and soft stuff, and you can like be very successful in your closet. Like you want stuff around you that because the way that your sound waves work when you're talking, it's going to go straight out of your mouth and it's going to hit the microphone, right? Now, if you're in a sound treated space, the microphone picks it up and the rest of the sound diffuses away, and there's only your voice coming through, hopefully one time. Whereas when you're in an echoey place, what happens is it goes through the mic, then it hits the wall and it bounces over here. It distorts every time it hits something, and then it comes back through and you have all this echo. So you want to kill that. And you do away with that by having soft surfaces all around you to diffuse the sound waves. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. If I'm not making sense, let me know. But this is, it's definitely soft surfaces are good. Hard surfaces are bad. You don't want them around your mic. All right. So from there, I think when I started, I kind of started my business with about $500. A couple $100 of that was the mic, and then what I did. Of course, this is after I left my closet. What I did was I took some insulation, 3.5-inch insulation, and then I cut it into strips, and then I put felt on the back side, and I lined my walls with it. It was very ugly. I think that looks kind of sharp or whatever. It looks like a little studio. This other one didn't look good, but it sounded good. And I paid a couple $100 for that. So you're not out a lot of money, but you're not out anything but your time really, beyond a couple $100 for the mic and depending on what you have for your sound treated space. So um, yeah, that's kind of where you want to get started. No matter how good you are. Now you may be someone that has a background in theater. Maybe you've done some voice acting, or maybe you've done stage or screen acting, and you really don't have a lot. Your learning curve is not really with the performance. But either way, no matter how good you are, you have to have a little studio that will produce audible quality sound, right? My chair's squeaking right now. You got to make sure that kind of stuff is not in your audiobooks. Um, so it doesn't matter if you're Benedict Cumberbatch. If you don't have a good studio to work with, you're not going to be able to be on Audible. Doesn't matter how good you are. So, yeah, if there's any questions, let me know. Hello, what's going on? Glad to see you. And I know people are kind of trickling in and out. So if there's anything that maybe you haven't heard and you're looking for, I could have already covered it. I don't know. Feel free to uh, put in a question, a comment. I'll be happy to try and address it. So we've gone over what you need. And those four things are a computer, a microphone, a digital audio workspace like Audacity. Some other names would be Pro Tools. There's Adobe Audition. There's GarageBand, which is free. There's Twisted Wave. There's a lot of great ones out there. And the main thing is, does it work for you? Do you like using it? That kind of thing. If you're going to use it and you're comfortable, that's what you need to be using. And then you need a sound treated place to record. Now, once you have your little studio set up, then you can start recording. Now, let's say you're a total beginner, you don't have much of a background in acting or whatever, or even if you did, but it's been some years, I would say start practicing. Just like if you were going to run, that half marathon in 6 months or a year, you would start practicing today. You would come up with a little training regimen and you would start moving towards that. And you would, you would train up for your event. You wouldn't just show up the day of and, hope you did good, hope you finished. You might get hurt. You might, scratch. You might not finish. So that's the approach that I recommend with this if you're a beginner. And the way that I recommend it is find somebody that you like to listen to. Now, I offer myself and my YouTube. I have a lot of audiobooks on there. I hope that you would like listening to them and be inspired by them. But, let's say just come up with your list. For me, who do I like listening to? I love Derek Jacobi. And you can find all these names on YouTube in some way, even if it's an excerpt or something. Derek Jacobi reading The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is phenomenal. He also narrates a documentary called Beowulf, or something about Beowulf, and it's just so good. He's got an amazing voice and an amazing storytelling ability. I love Tom Hiddleston, the guy that plays Loki in the Marvel series. He is, if I may say so, wasting his talents on that, because that guy is a Shakespearean genius. He's amazing. And his audiobooks are really good. Really good. Let's see, Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing. He's in Sherlock. He's in, he's Doctor Strange and stuff. Same thing. He's a Shakespearean actor. He's amazing. Kenneth Branagh, the magician's nephew from the Chronicles of Narnia. He is amazing. That's the book and the narrator that made me want to get into this 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 17 years ago. There's Natalie Dormer. She's really good. I really like her. Andy Serkis. He does The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. I think he does he do The Silmarillion? I haven't listened to it, but I think anyway, he's amazing. The point is, find people that you like. One, you like listening to them. They make you want to hear the story. And then, and I will say specifically in audiobooks, not just audio dramas, because it's, they're different. You can be a great voice actor. I've heard great voice actors that can bring one character to life at a time, but they're not a great narrator. So it's like, I thought I would like them, but I don't really like to hear them narrate. Um, Pick people that you like to listen to. They don't have to be famous, but they should be really good. And say, man, I just like her. I like him. They keep me engaged, and listen to them every day. I would say take portions of the script. Let's say in Derek Jacobi's case, he reads, and you can find it on YouTube, The Wind in the Willows. There's about an hour excerpt of him reading The Wind in the Willows. Well, I would listen to that and listen, and if you can, read along with it. Like read and see how he's inflecting, because he's going to be inflecting way higher and lower than we do in just normal talking, right? Normal American, anyway, English, it's sort of monotonous. The mole had been working very hard all morning, spring cleaning his little home. Well, Derek Jacobi goes, the mole had been working very hard all morning, spring cleaning his little home. Like every little detail, every syllable has an inflection in it, and it adds so much detail to it, and it makes you latch on to his every word. Now, will you and I ever be as good as Derek Jacobi? Probably not. But if you compare yourself to people like him, you're going to be much further down the road to success than if you just go on, let's say, LibriVox, who, God bless them, there's a lot of sincere people on there, but those are generally hobbyists and not professionals. And I would say don't compare yourself to a hobbyist, compare yourself to a professional. And Derek Jacobi is an absolute top of the game professional when it comes to acting and audiobooks. So then, yeah, listen to great narrations, listen to them a lot, imitate them, record yourself, right? And then listen back and say, do I believe me? Is that engaging at all? And sometimes, like in my case, I used to listen to Tom Hiddleston read poetry, and I would listen to him and then try and read it back, and then I would listen to myself and say like, oh, that's terrible, and just doing that so many times over and over and over. And now I feel like I've bridged the gap. Now I'm closer to Tom than I used to be. I'll never be him, but I will be, if I'm comparing myself to someone really good, I'm going to hopefully get better and better and better over the years instead of sort of staying the same or whatever. So I encourage you to do the same. Listen to somebody really good and then imitate it, record it, say, how could I do better? How could I inflect? How could I have a longer pause to, bring out whatever the point is that's being made? And then there's accent work. That's a whole nother thing. But you can work on accents that way too. If your characters have, if they're multi regional accents. Um, so yeah, listen, imitate, um, record yourself, listen back to it, and repeat. Just do it over and over. That's how you get better. Excuse me. And then if once you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to start, recording my book. Well, that's great. Um, Question: are there exercises? Whitney, how's it going? Um, yes. One thing that I don't know. I know names on here are different than the emails that I sent out, so I don't know if I've sent you my PDF. But if you would, I'm going to put my address up here. I will send you my PDF, and it has a bunch of like warm-ups in there. It has warm-ups and it has practice scripts. Now these are like commercials, but it's the same thing. I would say get a classic book, any book. It doesn't have to be classic. It could be a magazine. It could be whatever. long form, something that's more than um, 5 or 10 seconds is going to be best. And just practice it and record yourself and listen back, and then find someone that's really good that reads that and try and imitate them, that kind of thing. And as you imitate really good professionals, you will start to develop your own style. Okay, I'm going to put my um, email up here, uh, Whitney, and then if you want to, if you email me, I'll send you a PDF, and it has a little bit of everything in it, as far as it has some of these steps that I've talked about, and then exercises, tongue twisters, vocal warm ups, and then some practice scripts and things like that. Uh, all right. Okay. Yep. There's my email. So, write that down if you like. Send me an email, and I will send you that. And the link to this, by the way. So if you want to go back and listen to the whole thing, if you came in late or um, came in came in, you know, later after it started. Um, so we have covered the four things you need: computer, microphone, DAW, treated workspace, practice, which the best way to practice is find something that you like and listen to somebody that's really good, read it, imitate it, and do that over and over. And one of the ways to do it is if you have an audiobook or a piece of classic literature, let's say like a poem or something, that you can like find the recording and also find the text. So like if you can do that, that's going to be really helpful, because you can listen and you can read, and then when you do it, it just helps a lot. I've found great success doing that, and then just practice, just do it over and over and over. And then finally, um, where do how do you actually produce it? So let's say after you get all this stuff, and then um, you you record it. So you got, let's say you have 20 chapters, and you record your 20 chapters. There's some things that Audible requires, um, that you set kind of some your you master it to, like your RMS has to be between -18 and -23, and that's technical stuff, and I don't even completely understand it, what it means, but I do know how to do it. So all of your tracks have to be within there, and then within that range, because when Audible gets them, they're going to do some stuff to it to put it on their website, and that will change it a little bit, so it has to be within a margin of error kind of a thing. And then there has to be silence, like the first for each track. I think it has to be half a second or something like that on each end, but no more than like 5 seconds or something like that. But acx.com is a great place. And then authorsrepublic.com is another great place. I'm sure there are others, but those two I've had great success with. I've have books on Audible that I've published through both of those. And I think you couldn't go wrong with either of those. But that does not mean those are the only shows in town. There are definitely a lot of like a lot of sites, and you can kind of do your own research if you like. But ACX and Authors Republic, I personally like both of them and have had success with them. Now, also, I do coaching. I have a link in um, like down below, and you can look at that. I've got a course, I've got a book. If you're looking to do this, I think you ought to seriously consider it. Now, you can also go through ACX and do so. Moving aside from, okay, let's say you hear this, you're like, that's a little much. I don't know if I'm willing to do that. That's fine. You can always hire somebody. ACX is good because you can actually upload your like an audition sides, and then put it up for audition, and then you can do what's called like royalty share. That way, there's no money changing hands, and then you just split the royalties on the book after it's produced. So that's one way to do it. And then there's a like a by the finished hour, so it could $200 a finished hour, let's say, and then pay the producer narrator, and then but you never pay them anything else. Like you pay them for the book, and then if you sell 5 million copies, you've already paid them, and they're not entitled to anything else. So it just depends on how you structure it, and you can do it either way. And there's even a royalty plus where you do, okay, here's a royalty, but then you know per finished hour, there's a kind of a little bit of both. So you can structure it however you like. On the royalty share, I think people that are really good, they're going to want the plus generally, um, or a high per finished hour rate. They're probably not going to go for the royalty share, um, just straight royalty share, unless if you have a big social media presence and a great marketing plan, they might. Like you really could, and you can always ask, and the worst thing they can say is no. But that is a way to get your book made into an audiobook. For it could be free as far as no money changing hands to start production. Um, but that's just something to think about if you decide, what, that's a little it's a little much. I'm not sure about all that, but um, so there you have it. That's kind of the down and dirty of how to go about doing it. You need to have a place to record, and then you need to start practicing, and then you need to know how to upload it, and then on those sites it'll have the parameters of the technical parameters for the RMS things, technobabble, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so make sure that if you're interested in this kind of thing, that follow me on YouTube. Check out my playlist, Voice Acting 101. I have a lot of stuff about just different, you know, uh, voice acting type of stuff that I think you'll find helpful. If you're serious about it, definitely check out the link below and join my um, voiceover group, which meets once a week. And I like small groups. I like no more than 10 because it I think the learning environment's better. It's not so big that you're scared to ask a question, but it also is small enough that other people will say stuff that kind of jog your memory and then say, oh yeah, that reminds me, I actually was wondering about this other thing, and you can learn from the others in the small group. So small group is, I think, preferable. And then my book, I think is very helpful. It's called How to Be a Voice Actor in 5 Simple Steps. And, um, it just tells you more of what I just told you here. And it's not a history book. It is, or it's not a philosophy book. It's a history book. It's not theoretical. That's how I became a voice actor, is doing that. And I started in audiobooks. That's where I cut my teeth and then moved on from there. So if you are an author and you want to do your own audiobook, I would say absolutely go for it. And if there are no questions, I will wrap it up. But thank you very much for listening, for dropping in. And I will send out the links to those that had asked for it. And then, like I said, send me an email here and ask for this link, and I'll send it to you if you desire. So again, I'm Jake. Thanks very much. Fun hanging out with you. Best of luck.